Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back from the brand new video. Now I know, it's another video already, people. You'll be getting sick of the sight of me at this point, but it is championship time. There's games coming thick and fast. It's the business end of the old season, so I apologise, but there is so much to actually discuss, including not only what is going to be another massive must-win game of football tomorrow, but also our 150th anniversary, so there's a lot to discuss. And because of that, I think we'll just roll right in to the actual video then, shall we? And as always, we'll start off with the oppositional preview and having a check-in tomorrow's dance partner, who are, of course, Aberdeen Football Club. Now, Aberdeen actually come in to this game of football versus Rangers sitting 10th in the table, people. That's right. At my current time of recording, Aberdeen are 10th in the league, which is absolutely glorious, people. 1-0, and it's March, you know what I mean? There's a 10 in March. I imagine that wasn't the 10 in March Scott Brown thought he was going to get, but it's the only 10 in March he ever got. Now, all joking and all that aside, it's got to be said, Aberdeen Football Club's season has been an absolute nightmare, and having to sit back and watch them and break the games and everything for this upcoming preview video, it has been a nightmare show. And this isn't me just speaking from a Rangers fan's perspective with my blue tinted specs and the fact that I don't like Aberdeen Football Club. It's no that. I think even the most die-hard Aberdeen fan would sit here and say the exact same thing. It has been a massive disappointment, and it has been a bit of a nightmare because, again, not only are they sitting 10th in the league table, they pretty much deserve to be. And that for me is mental, because you look at Aberdeen and the business they've done in the summer, the recruitment, bringing in players who's played in this level and who show they can perform at this level, whilst also spending some money from elsewhere, bringing in some talented players. They really should have kicked on, and they should have really been up there battling in the third spot and probably having the season that Hearts is having, in all honesty. But they've no people, because again, they are doing it at this level where the results and performances have been really poor, and it's the latter there for me, I think, it's the biggest thing to talk about with this Aberdeen team, because sometimes you can have good performances and not get good results. I mean, you can hit the post, you can come up against the goalkeepers inspired, you can maybe not get that bit of luck where the referee or linesman or something makes the wrong call, and that can stop you for having a good result. But this Aberdeen team, people's not even putting in performances warranting good results, and that's the warning sign. And that's why they went ahead and made the changes they made so far in the season, walking over broken glass and replacing the previous manager and everything like that. But before we kind of go down that route and speak about the new gaffer and how they're playing and that under him, I think it is worth noting that despite all my jokes and jabs and everything about them being 10th in the table, I would be lying to you if I sat here and said there's no room for redemption, there's no path for recovery, because yes, they are sitting 10th in March, but they are only 5 points away from jumping from 10th all the way up to 4th. That's how tight the table is this season, with so many teams having good spells then really, really poor spells. So it's not over and done yet for Aberdeen, but they really need to kick on and look 10 times better than where they actually find themselves right now, and the level of performances just aren't good enough unless you're up against a Rangers shirt. And that kind of leads me going on to the next talking point in the video, because again, they have replaced the manager and everything like that, and now Jim Goodwin has came in. I didn't know what I was going to say there. Jim Goodwin has came in from St Mirren. I think that is going to be a good appointment long term for them, and I think he'll get his influence and he'll get them playing well. But so far, there's no been a managerial bounce, as they've continued to show they love a cheeky draw in the league season, and they've not really had that big result to kick them on or anything like that. It's not a 1 step forward, 2 steps back like St Johnson's been having lately. It's just limping along, picking up a point at a time, because you have to go all the way back to the 26th of December since the last time Aberdeen won a game in the league. That's mental. But none of it is surprising, especially if you've watched the other previews or saw how Aberdeen's been playing previously in the season. Yet every single time they come up against Rangers, they're able to raise their freaking game. So I'm not going to sit here and break down just how poor they've been or anything, because we know for a fact they'll not be that team when they play against Rangers. It will well and truly be a cup final atmosphere for them, not only because of the rival or anything like that, but with the celebration, the 150th anniversary, they will be raring to go more than ever to make tomorrow a massive, massive disappointment for the fans. So last thing I want to say about Aberdeen Football Club or anything like, regarding their play style under Jim Goodwin, there has been some improvements in terms of the amount of passes per game and everything like that, because like him or loathe him or anything like that, you know for a fact that he is one of the few managers that gets his team playing some football, out for the back, playing out and everything like that, and he done that at St Mirren. No right away, but it gradually built up, and I'm sure he'll start doing that at Aberdeen. But regarding massive changes from what we saw in the other games versus Aberdeen, not really my my opinion. Only slight tweak, I think we'll see more of a 4-5-1 in this game. I know he lines up in a 4-2-3-1 on paper, but if you think about any time we ever played St Mirren or anything like that, Jim always had his team play the exact same way, take away the middle of the park and then defend the box with life. When that ball comes in, it's almost playing to our strengths in terms of going it wide and crossing it, but it's also what he lives and dies off as well, because he'll be expecting the likes of Declan Gallagher, David Bates to be dominant in the air over Alfredo Morelos. So middle of the park should be absolutely full to the bits, and then again it's just about winning the battle out wide and getting the ball in. So if we're going to break them down, it'll be through that. So that's how they will approach the game defensively, but going forward I think their biggest threat will be set pieces. And again, I didn't want to be saying this because obviously it can come back and bite us in the you-know-what-ski, but they have scored a lot of goals from set pieces. Again, the likes of Declan Gallagher, you've got big Christian Ramirez up top, you've got Ferguson, who's obviously scored a couple of goals from set pieces this season, and they've actually scored a couple of goals against the other half of the Old Firm not too long ago and everything as well. So that is where they're most dangerous, that is where we're most weakest. So we're going to need a massive improvement in terms of set piece defending in this game, because that will be their bread and butter, and that's all they'll try to get all game. And that's all really good to say about the Aberdeen side of thing. I want to transition in to the Rangers side, and listen, I'm not going to sit here and ramble on and tell you stuff that you didn't already know. We all know what time it is. We know it's business end of the season. We know it's must win, so I'm not going to go through any of that, but I do want to touch on something I mentioned earlier on in the video regarding a cup final for Aberdeen, because that's always the mentality side of thing whenever they play against Rangers and everything like that, and we need to make sure we match that intensity, because not only is it going to be a tough, hard-fought game of football on a grand occasion like our 150th anniversary, but we need to get the mindsets like them coming into this game. We need to treat this game like a cup final, because every single game we play now in the league is basically a cup final. It's win or bust, people. So we need to adopt the same mentality and approach this game like there was a trophy to be lifted at the end of it, because it's all about those 3 points and we need to start picking them up on the regular. Now, speaking of picking them up, by the way, we do have some fantastic news regarding the Rangers team, as we've got some boosts regarding who's available and returned for the weekend. Start off with the one that gave me the biggest smile, I'm going to be honest with you, and that is of course Ryan frickin' Jack. He is back available for the weekend. I imagine he will go straight into that middle of the park. Now, who for or anything like that can be a discussion we'll have in the comment section below, but I definitely think he'll be put in there, especially with the physical battle up against Aberdeen. Set pieces defensively will need to be strong, and he's a big strong laddie, so I imagine he'll return to the middle of the park. Maybe it's Scott Airfield that's going to come out, give him a rest for the love everything holy, maybe try and play on Kamara being more offensive and running at the box, because that's something we talk about Arfield doing and offering our team, but Arfield's not scored in a very long time. Kamara's had one game when he's able to run forward and have the freedom, and he put the ball into the back of it, so maybe a wee tweak there and put Jacko beside Lundstrom and get that linchpin in the middle. But whatever happens, I'm expecting Ryan Jack to be involved in the game tomorrow, and I expect him to be starting. Another player that could be starting the game tomorrow is another massive timely boost, as well as Big Phil Helander is back into business, and I imagine there'll be one person more relieved than anyone at that news, and that'll be big Leon Balogun, because did you see him at the end of that St Johnstone game on Wednesday night? Dropped right away and he's stretching that left hammy, which will come up in the next couple of minutes when we start talking about the subs and what Giovanni had to say about that. But just having that rotation available again will be massive for us at the football club, because again, when it seems to be one player drop out, we're having to play people out of position and not have that aerial threat in the defence, and we're up against Aberdeen, a set piece team. We're going to need centre-back, so Balogun or Helander will be back and playing at that left centre-back spot. Now, last but not least, regarding the positive team news, I'm even kicking the table there as I do, we have the fantastic news that Aaron Ramsey is available for selezione. Honestly, I'd bring a tear to a glass eye. He's back in business. Now, whether he starts the game, that would be highly doubtful. But again, no one knows these days what Giovanni's thinking. If he's fit and if he's ready to go, just start him, because bringing him in gradually from the bench wasn't working, and it might just be the difference in having him available for a certain amount of time and a certain amount of game, maybe the difference between 1 and 3 points. So I see this as a massive boost, despite a lot of people being negative and talking him doing that now. Again, he could be the key difference in turning these draws versus Aberdeen that we've had all season long in to the 3 points. So I'll be very interested to see his usage in tomorrow's game. And also, that was officially reported that he's available, but it's also been reported, not by Rangers, but elsewhere, that Aaron Ramsey has also paid out of his pocket to get a physio that he's previously worked with over into Scotland and to help him so he's available to play for Rangers. Now, I know people say, oh, he's got a lot of money, he should be blah, 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 but no everyone's willing to do that, people. No everyone's able to get money out the pocket and pay for them. They would maybe wait for the club or somebody else to go and do it. I know a lot of people who's got money and they didn't spend a freaking penny, people. So the fact that he is willing to spend money out of his own pocket to get him available to play for Rangers is an impressive thing. And again, the type of mentality you want in a dressing room, that they're willing to do whatever they can to get on the park rather than sitting with their feet up no bollard if they play or didn't. So shout out to him for that as well, spending the old moolah and employing his own staff pretty much. But where the positivity is flowing right now, I do need to supply you with some negatives, unfortunately, because we found out that Stephen Davis, Amad Diallo and of course Hadji won't be available for the game. Now I mentioned Hadji there because I didn't mention him in the last preview and some people was like, oh, is he back available? And no, he's obviously out for the season. It kind of went from my mind because I'm like, I've said it enough on the channel, but I've seen a couple of the comments saying, is he back or anything? No, he's not. He's out for the rest of the season, and Davis and Amad Diallo unfortunately is ruled out of the game tomorrow. But that is it regarding the team news. So I'm seeing this as a boost because normally it's been knock after knock after knock. Bad news, bad news, bad news. So the fact that we've got 3 potential game changers available business end of the season is something to be positive about, in my opinion. But whether they get brought on or not is going to lead us to the last talking point in today's video, because there's been so much made of the lack of substitutions, the lack of rotation, the freshness in the squad, how leggy we look after the 50th minute in every single game, and that was kind of brought up during the press conference as they asked Giovanni about not making substitutions or anything like that, and this is what Gio had to say. I don't care about how many substitutions I make, I care about 3 points, end quote. Now that is a badass movie line, you know what I mean? I expect to see Nicolas Cage saying that on Con Air 2 or anything like that when he becomes a football coach apparently. I don't know, it's a weird spin-off. Anyway, that's the kind of line that I liked here, but also, you know what I mean, it's a good line, and yes, it makes sense because it is all about the 3 points, but I thought the guy brought up a valid quote or anything, a valid question because of the freshness in the squad, and it does leave me a wee bit nervous that now that it's actually worked out and he's obviously kind of put his back up at that kind of questions, that maybe he'll double down in that type of tactics. But I didn't think he'll be like, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to think positive that he made the right decision on Wednesday night, despite our frustration and how we could see the game slipping away. We got all 3 points, so let's leave that in the past now, right? It was an ugly game of football, but we got 3 points for it. Now we move on to Saturday with a massive game versus Aberdeen, and I just hope that he rotates it a little bit and we see maybe the likes of Arfield or that be given a rest and we get that freshness back in our squad to make us look back to who we can be. But I just wanted to bring that to you because there was a lot of discussion about the lack of subs and what Gio would say or anything like that. That's all he said about the matter. He doesn't care about substitutions, that he only cares about the 3 points, which again, that's the right mentality to have, but let's keep some subs in mind as well, please, Gio. And with that being said, that's reached the end of today's video. That's the oppositional preview, the short Rangers conversation, the latest team news, and of course the massive talking point about the lack of subs and all that malarkey, which has dominated the news over the last couple of days in terms of football and perspective. But that is it regarding the game tomorrow, people. Now I've gave that all and I've painted a little bit more of a picture about the game tomorrow. I'm handing it over to you guys. I want to know your thoughts and opinions going into this game. Would you make any changes? Does Jacko, does Helander, does Ramsey start for you? Where your head's sitting? Let me know down in the comment section below. For me, I normally didn't go pretty high for Aberdeen games. You know, I'm very conservative with these games because I know what they mean to the opposition and I know how awful and how badly they want to ruin this day for Rangers. But I just think there'll be something. The more I hope so. Anyway, so I'm going to go with a scoreline of Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1. Imagine they'll score a set piece at some point. Hopefully not early because again, grey hairs and all that malarkey. But I just want to see the Rangers team we know they can be back out there, and we've got some game changers to bring on, so let's see them involved as well. And that's all I've got to say, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you tomorrow night after the game. Take care of yourselves. All the best and bye-bye.